We're gonna make a mold. All right, so that's the silicone. So first you have to cut out a layer, making sure you're near the edge so you don't waste any material. And then that gets pushed down in here. Okay, make sure you're on the plastic so it doesn't stick to the table or pick up any dirt from the table. Second one goes in there, press it down.
And that's just for a double thickness.
Okay. It's a 4 layer, so I guess that's the way they've always done it. Okay, then this is your funnel or sprue. So you get one of these and you press it in the top there, so that's how the metal will get into the mold. Then you go and get your 3D printed piece, okay? And you decide which part you want to have oriented towards the sprue. So I printed this out pretty big. I wanted to see how, this is about the largest you can get in there. Press it down. Right, you're making an indentation in the silicone.
We should get a measurement for that too.
It's 50 and by 30 mil. Okay. It's in the actual
okay?
description, yeah. Okay, and then you walk over here and you get some talc. So this is so that the layers will come apart after they've been vulcanized. So a nice layer of talc on there, make sure it covers the whole thing. Okay, and then back we go. Okay, now you need to cut out 2 more layers of silicone. Press them down. One more layer. It all pressed down, and then you got your 4 pins in the corners. Want to make sure they don't hit the 3D print that's in there. Okay, and then they come over here to the vulcanizer. This is what's going to make the silicone hard. So a plate goes on top. We can get 4 of these in at a time, Jude, is that right? Okay. Tighten it up. This will squish the silicone down. Turn it in. Oh, now that will need to take, so you can see here that is set to 64 minutes. So it'll take 64 minutes for that to vulcanize. Okay, so once your mold comes out of the vulcanizer, you could take it out of the metal form. And now that your job is to get it, the 2 parts taken aside. So you'll need to carefully use a screwdriver to pry the metal out. Okay, and then if you put enough of the talcum powder on, your next part shouldn't be too hard. So you need to kind of break the seal with the screwdriver. Make sure you're always pushing it away from yourself, never towards yourself. And make sure the sprue goes back in where the sprues are stored. And so now you've got your 2 parts of your mold. Okay, next step is to get a cutting mat and a craft knife, because you need to cut the excess silicone off. Okay. Make sure you're never cutting towards any part of your body when you're doing this. What seems to work best is to hold the knife in one place and just turn the actual mold. Okay. And then just double check double check your mold to make sure that there's no extra little bits of silicone that might get in the way of the metal entering the mold. Okay, so before you actually use the low temperature forge, you need to have safety glasses on and you need to have the heat resistant glove. So your mold will get held together with some rubber bands and it goes into the tray. The tray goes into the mold and you want to line it up right underneath the spout. And then pull the lever down on the side and you want it to have a little bit come out the top. Alright. And it comes out, make sure you do that with heat sensitive gloves on. And then you just leave it. How long do you leave it for? About 5 minutes. Okay, so next step is you take the rubber band off. Peel it open. So there, this is a different print than the other one. Okay, take out and using some snips, you go down to the end of the sprue and you can just snip that off. Okay, perfect.